you here. This is our first live concert as well as live streamed concert for our 2021-2022 A-String Fort Smith season. Now the live stream, if anyone wants to watch this program concurrently while we're performing, it is available on the church's Facebook feed. However, our YouTube channel, A-String Fort Smith, will be available in about a week. Okay. So I'd like to acknowledge some people before we start our program. I'd like to thank Rector Michael Briggs of this church for allowing us to use this beautiful space. We rehearse here weekly, and of course we give concerts here among other places. We're so very grateful to him, his congregation, and staff. I'd like to acknowledge William Leeper, who is a member of the church, doing some of the videography today for the church. Grant Soul, who will be videographing us for our YouTube channel. That concert will be live in about a week. And I want to tell you a little bit about A-String Fort Smith. Of course, it's on the program, but A-String Fort Smith is comprised of young people that are committed to rehearsing 1 hour a week. They must study privately, have a private teacher, and practice diligently for our public concerts, of which there are at least 4 during a year. This year, I want to talk about who is in our roster. We have 2 local public high schools in town, Northside and Southside. We have 4 from Northside, 1 senior and 3 juniors. You guys can raise your hand if you'd like, the Northside folk. And then we have 5 from Southside, 2 graduating seniors and 3 juniors. And we have a college sophomore. Good, I got that right, okay. And I'd also like to recognize our guest artists for this evening. Of course, their names are on the program when we play the Copeland. That would be Sarah Lynn Workman on piano. Of course, she's playing violin now because Sarah Lynn is also a member of the Fort Smith Symphony violin section. And we have Gavin Green and Elijah Slayton on percussion, and they are both students at UFIS. So without further ado, let us begin. We will start the evening with 3 pieces, 3 selections from Bach's Suite in D major. 2 of the movements are dance movements, the outer movements. The first movement is called Two Gavottes. The last movement is called Gigue. The one in between we've chosen to play is called Air. Now here's something curious about the Air. Through the years, it's become known as Air on the G string. It really was not written on the G string. The G string is, of course, our lowest string. See if I can play holding a mask. But the Air that Bach composed is written on the upper 2 strings. So that's kind of an interesting tidbit for you. So 3 pieces from his suites. To mention earlier my wonderful faculty. I could not do this without them. So let me present them now. Miss Barbara Gadet, my assistant director, also a cellist in the Fort Smith Symphony, private teacher in the area. Barbara, would you stand, please? Thank you. Mr. Anthony Verge, who is playing violin tonight, but he is a member of the viola section of the Fort Smith Symphony. And he also is the orchestra director at Kimmons Junior High.
Middle school.
Sorry, middle school. Okay. And Mr. Josue Sosedo, who will be playing a solo tonight, is a student at UFAS pursuing a music education degree. Thank you so much. Okay. So we'd like to continue with our program. The next selection is a piece called Salut d'amour, or Love's Greeting, loosely translated. This was written by Sir William Elgar, an English composer, and he actually wrote it as an engagement gift to give to his fiancée. Elgar was a very, very popular composer. One of his most popular pieces that you may be familiar with is Pomp and Circumstance, actually. He wrote that. So our soloist this evening is Miss Callie Shannon, who is a Southside senior. And I know whatever she pursues after high school, I know cello will be a part of it. hard now. Okay. So as they're changing, I'd like to give all the violinists, each member, we're all the same. Everyone here is a soloist. So I'd like to give the first violinist a chance to play second violin and vice versa. So we typically switch midstream. So our next selection is a piece by the Italian composer Giovanni Bottesini called Reverie. It's just a very beautiful lyrical piece. Bottesini was also a virtuoso double bass player. Our soloist is, of course, Josue Sosedo on my faculty. And we've got to get the settings right. So our final selections for the afternoon are 4 pieces by the American composer Aaron Copeland. I'm sure most of you have heard of Aaron Copeland. He is really thought of as the quintessential American composers because of his open and very slowly changing harmonies in much of his music. One that comes to mind is Appalachian Spring. If you've never heard that, that's a real good one to listen to appreciate that. Kind of evokes the image of vast landscape on the American terrain and the pioneer spirit. So he's one of our favorite. So, and when you listen to these 4 pieces, see if you can't catch the slow changing harmonies, that kind of open sound, maybe in the first and the third selections. Thank you. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how exciting this has been for us to be able to play for you. Now, if you're interested, if anyone here knows of someone that might be interested in auditioning for A String Fort Smith, all that information is on our website, astringfortsmith.com, as well as our next performances and schedule of rehearsals. So, yeah, and more photos coming, and the YouTube recording in about a week. And thank you, St. Bart's, for putting us on your Facebook feed. Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon.